This is Chris Lee of Southeastern 14 here to talk about the SEC tournament. Latest one in, Texas A&M has shut out Tennessee 3-0 in a game that stretched forever because of rain. And honestly, this one surprised me. The Vols were my pick to win the tournament, thought they had enough pitching, but the trick was getting past that single elimination game. That's always a risk, and that's what Tennessee ran into, was a hot pitcher. Troy Wansing, A&M's left-hander, who frankly hadn't been very good all year, just dominated the Vols. Went 8 innings just with a lot of off-speed stuff, 80s fastballs kind of things. Not an overpowering guy, but a tricky lefty. And that's something that gave Tennessee trouble. Evan Aschembeck comes in and gets the save for 1 inning after a rain delay that, man, I don't know, 2 hours or so. I don't know what the official time on that was. Jace Lavalette hits a home run to right on a day where nothing was getting out. It was damp. It rained a lot of the day, and absolutely nothing was carrying, but he crushed one. And that was the big hit of the day. The Vols get 1 hit. Don't know when the last time Tennessee was 1 hit, but it's been a minute. But anyway, the Aggies will move on, and they will face Arkansas probably around, I'm going to guess, noon Central on Thursday. LSU and South Carolina are going to play at 9:30 in the morning. Again, that's Central Time. So allow 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, maybe more like 1 o'clock. But in any case, they will play sometime tomorrow. A&M, they have a lot of pitching today. That's something you want to do. And for Tennessee, well, first of all, for A&M, I don't think there was a whole lot of doubt that the Aggies were going to get in the field of 64. I had them as a 2, but barely a 2. You could have had them as a 3. Again, I think the chances of A&M being left out of the field of 64, what they lost today, were slim. But you always want to take care of a little bit of business just in case A&M did that. I don't know how you leave A&M out at this point. Was doing some calculations on Warren Nolan's RPI, and he does this thing called impact games. So they have not posted the RPI numbers, which they usually update within a few minutes of the games. But looking at the impact, I think the Aggies are going to get to 32 in the RPI. That is right at the end of the 2-seed line. And some would say that a 2 or a 3 doesn't make much difference. And they're sort of right, but you play a better team if you're a 3 than you do if you're a 2, and you get matched up with a 3, if that makes sense. So in any case, the Aggies probably did themselves a little bit of a favor today, maybe getting inside that 2 line as we speak here on, Tuesday afternoon. For Tennessee, the Vols had a chance to host after beating South Carolina and Columbia last weekend. That, I think, went by the board today, probably, and there's a few reasons for that. I'll get into those in just a minute. First of all, Seth Halverson for Tennessee started and was relieved by Camden Sewell. Those guys were fairly good. But what the Aggies did was push Halverson up way into the pitch count. I think he was in the 80s after 4 innings. That's something you don't want to see if you're going to advance in a tournament, is wearing through that much pitching that quickly. Although with Tennessee, I don't think it would have mattered. The Vols are loaded with pitching. But in any case, I think Tennessee's RPI, according to Warren Nolan's impact thing, I think Tennessee's going to drop to around a 22. And not that Tennessee couldn't host with a 22. You've seen teams do that before. But you've got 8 other SEC teams in the mix. I don't think the NCAA is going to give 9 hosting bids to SEC teams. That RPI, if you want to go literally by the RPI, outside the top 16, it gets a little dicier unless you win a conference championship or tournament or something like that, or have something outside there that's outstanding. Tennessee just doesn't have that. No, do I think the Vols are one of the best 16 teams in the country? Probably. And I don't really want to be the 2-seed that has to play them. But Tennessee, I think, finished the season and the SEC tournament 1 game above 500 against the top 100 RPI teams. I think they were right at 500 or maybe a game below in terms of top 50. You just have some other teams with resumes that are louder, and the Vols played a really tough schedule in the league, and we've been over that before. But the out-of-conference strength of schedule, 2, not good. The road record, 4, I think, and 12, 4-11, something like that. And Tennessee 1-2 on neutral sites. So just when Tennessee is in contention with a lot of other teams, and particularly 8 other teams from the SEC, The committee sometimes is going to look for a reason to disinclude you. The RPI being out of the top 16 is, I think, going to be one. The road record and the record away from home will be another thing. And then the non-conference strength of schedule, which I think is kind of overrated. If you're playing in the SEC, you kind of need to schedule yourself some easy wins. But that's a thing the committee sometimes will look at to justify if they leave you out, or if they're picking between two teams, they'll pick the team with the better record in terms of or the better RPI and strength of schedule in terms of out of conference. I'll tell you where I think Tennessee's going in just a minute. But first, a shout out to our sponsor, the Bearded Irish Brewing Company, located in West Nashville. The Sylvan Supply location is home to Black Dynasty Secret Ramen House. You'll find a wide variety of comforting bowls of meaty and vegan-friendly ramen with house-made noodles, alongside rotating weekly features, seasonal sides, salads, and desserts. Check out our friends at the Bearded Irish Brewing Company on the west side of Nashville and tell them that Southeastern 14 is where you heard about them. Okay. The NCAA, and it even says this in its manual, sends teams, they try to, whenever possible, use geographic proximity to send teams to other regions. Well, we know Tennessee is not going to get sent to another SEC team. So that eliminates a good 6 or 7 teams right there. Tennessee's not going to be sent to another regional in which they would face another conference team. So that narrows down things considerably. There's only 9, 10 places the Vols could go. And here's what I've got in order of geographic proximity. Did a little digging online. And driving distance from Knoxville to Clemson, 3 hours and 18 minutes. To Winston-Salem, where Wake Forest is, 4 hours and 1 minute. To Virginia, 5 hours and 32 minutes. And to Conway, South Carolina, where Coastal Carolina is. All 4 of those teams are safely going to be hosts. I would say if you're a Vol fan, those are the places you start booking hotels or whatever, because I bet Tennessee is going to be sent to one of those places. Now, look, that could change. You could have a team closer to any of those venues sent there. I mean, Auburn and Clemson was a matchup I thought could happen. I think Tennessee is closer, though. Winston-Salem, you could have some teams, I guess, in Carolina's backyard. From the Carolinas, that it could be 2 seeds that get sent there. I'm blanking on who that could be at the moment. But point is, you have to consider geography for other teams too. But if you're just looking at it from a Tennessee standpoint, those are the closest places. And I would bet, unless they send Tennessee out to Stanford or somewhere like that, good chance the Vols, I think, are going to be playing postseason baseball in one of those 4 cities. And I would probably lean more towards Clemson or Wake Forest. So if you're Wake, boy, is the #1 national seed, which Wake is going to be, I would not be very happy about Tennessee being sent to my region. I think that probably the committee wouldn't send what I consider a pretty tough 2 seed to the #1 national seed. So my guess is you're going to see Tennessee go to Clemson. All right. Thank you for watching our video today. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the like buttons. I'm Chris Lee for Southeastern 14, and we'll be back with more SEC baseball content soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you when we do.